Welcome to Autism Lifeline Links Facebook Live across the spectrum. Today we're here at the Burleson Center for Innovation at Edgewood Independent School District here in San Antonio, Texas. Today's topic is It's All Fun and Games, building social and cognitive skills using common board games. So often we know that guys on the spectrum have challenges taking turns or in socialization, so working with board games and working with taking turns and communicating rules is so very important, and it's one of those things that you can start really very early with our guys, and that's a life skill that carries on throughout. So our guests today are Sarah Elizondo. She's the Life Skills Program Specialist here in Edgewood Independent School District, and this is her home at the Burleson Center. And we have Miss Stephanie Pepi, who is the Director of Starfish Social. I'm going to give each of these girls a second to just give you an idea about what they do and why they're our subject matter experts here for this event tonight.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Welcome. So here at the Burleson Center, we do have our 18 plus students who come and learn different vocational skills as well as some of their social skills. And so we have them here from after graduation till 22 per se, not always. We try to get them to be independent and employable, and once they reach those skills, then we are set and let them off.
That's right.
So, yeah.
And so here at the Burleson Center, it's really an innovative project. They have a bike repair shop, they have a thrift store, they have a coffee shop, they make t-shirts. So they do all sorts of things, and all of those things are about working together, working cooperatively, taking turns, letting others talk, using our ears. So another great reason that our life skills girl is in the house. So now, Miss Stephanie, can you tell us more about Starfish Social?
Absolutely. So at Starfish Social Club, we have social groups for students of all ages, starting at age 4 through adults. Our evening groups run all year round. And we also have a summer camp program for school-age students, and we have a year-round school program as well that we just started this year. And our focus in everything we do is social. So it's a lot of executive functioning skills that go along with that, but we really focus on being able to be part of a group and the choices and decisions that we make and how that helps us be more successful when we're around other people. And part of all of our social groups involve gameplay. So this is something that we do every day, every week with every one of our groups to help build those skills, just those group behaviors.
Stephanie has a game closet at Starfish Social that is just the envy of every log cabin, I imagine, at every skill level. And obviously, those of us who are out there who have a loved one on the spectrum, and those of you who are watching who do not, that communication and a communication disorder at the end of the day is one of the cornerstones of autism spectrum disorder. And the more we can teach, and the earlier we can teach our guys how to effectively communicate, and that means verbal, nonverbal, visual cues, the whole thing that goes into that, the stronger young adult that they will be. And so at the end of the day, we're really striving for our young adults to be big adults one day and to be more independent. So can you tell me a little bit, Stephanie, what really, other than the communication, and what is the importance of people like gameplay? Why is playing games, and what does it teach you?
So anything that we can learn while we're having fun, we're much more likely to be engaged in learning. We're much more likely to put effort into it. So building social skills around gameplay automatically increases the students' ability and desire to learn and practice new skills. We are really big on, like I said, just teaching kids the concept of being part of a group. And so the way that we do game time is students can play any game that they want to. They can play with anybody they want to, but understanding that even that concept is really socially heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be able to have a conversation with somebody. You have to be able to figure out who you want to ask to play. Sometimes kids don't say anything to anybody, and then they end up without a partner and without a game. And so even just, it sounds simple to say, well, pick a game and pick somebody to play with.
Yeah.
But when you don't have those interactive skills already intact, it's incredibly challenging. So and then, it gets a little more complicated. How do we handle having a disagreement? How do we handle who's going to go first? How do we handle the fact that we both want to be read?
Right.
What happens if I don't want to play anymore? What happens if I think you're cheating? So those are all the things that we facilitate in the part of our groups that is gameplay. We facilitate all that. We're really big on teaching our kids to be problem solvers. So we don't step in and solve problems when they come up. We help students figure out what they could do, what they could try, what might work, what might not work, so they learn how to interact with other people. And
well, it's so important because so often we're accustomed to like solving problems for our children, but as they age, it's a life skill, and so helping them to figure that out is so key. Okay, so how does playing games relate to school? Why?
Well, playing games in a safe environment, whether it be at home or like she has now with the Starfish, they feel comfortable, they feel safe there. And so when we have them at the school setting, they're building those play skills already. And so they're building and growing cognitively, socially. They are able to share their willingness there. Also, it builds their self-confidence on I can. And they feel safer in risk-taking. They don't feel so threatened when they're trying to make those choices and trying to play that game with somebody. So it's important that not only they have these groups like Starfish, but just playing at home with some of their siblings or playing at home with family. And now, approaching with the holidays, family members that they're not used to seeing are going to kind of come in and come out because let's face it, we just don't see everybody all the time. So aunts, uncles, cousins, we might not see, but this time of the year.
Thanksgiving Day is a long day.
It is, and what you do during those times, and so to fill in some of those, waiting for the turkey to be ready, you're playing those games, and so they feel more comfortable when they know and they're aware of what to expect and what is expected. And so when they're familiar with these types of games and familiar with the routine of it, they feel safer, and their willingness is higher, their engagement.
And so one of the things we talk about often on Facebook Live events is that it's as much about teaching your guy on the spectrum the soft skills as the siblings or the caregivers who are around them or the family members. So if you know that you're going to a Tia's house and all the cousins are going to be there, having something made up or having a conversation with the cousins to say, listen, this is what we've been working on, just to heighten everybody's awareness.
Absolutely.
So we're raising community awareness. And we're building greater empathy and greater success for everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
Just say that's another piece of this, especially during the holidays, like you said.
Absolutely. So again, it just kind of helps in that skill in the classroom of turn taking, a skill of the risk, like I said, improve their social skills, and it strengthens their critical skills.
Yes.
That critical higher order thinking of learning.
So what is some of the greatest challenges or this in gameplay?
I think a lot of it depends on the level that the students are at. At Starfish Social Club, we have students on all different levels. So sometimes for kids who are a little more shy or maybe a little more socially anxious, it's initiating that conversation with somebody. It's asking someone else either to join or to play. It's just kind of that initial step. And a lot of our students, after a couple weeks, we're kind of over that because it's a pretty safe, comfortable place.
Mm-hmm.
So we tend to get over that in our group pretty quickly. But then we have disagreements during the game, right? If we think somebody maybe took an extra turn or skipped our turn, or
took too many things. No, I counted 5. No, that's not 5. It goes here.
Right. And so, some of the concepts that we work on naturally, size of the problem, right? So how big of a problem is it if your turn got skipped? And so our typical approach with the students is, what can you do?
Yeah.
So instead of me telling you something to do, instead of me saying, oh, I think you skipped his turn, let's go back.
Right.
What do you want to try, or what can you do? So the student starts to develop the skills to come up with their own plan. And sometimes the plan doesn't work, right? Sometimes it's, well, I can yell at him that it's my turn. You can. Let's see how that works.
That gets you.
Yeah. But it's about them being able to develop their own problem-solving abilities And trial and error is a really big part of that.
Absolutely.
So we talk a lot about, because sometimes it does happen, somebody will yell during a game.
Sure.
We'll talk about, gosh, I wonder how that's going to work out for you. We even talk about, I wonder if this group is going to want to play with you again next time.
Mm-hmm.
So if something didn't work out your way and you yelled at the group,
Sure.
what are they thinking right now?
Yeah.
And how might that work out next week when we come back?
And it's so funny, Stephanie, because so often I think people are like, oh well, you know, that's too much for him to. But it's a skill that is
Yes.
forever, right?
Yes.
So we want to make sure that we're challenging our children appropriately
Yes.
at their level of development, and all the more reason why great programs like yours that are just like, okay, we can get through this, and like, how do you do this, and how's that going to work for you? What is it that you want? How are you going to get there? Those kinds of skills. Okay, so tell me, what are some strategies? What are some tools that people can use to help keep things? I don't even know where to look for smooth, as smooth as
minimize
possible.
some of those things. So I have just, we have different various programs that we can make visuals at school. And so in the home environment, it might not be that easy, that simple.
Okay.
Okay. And so we can just go to Google and do some images. I got some index cards, some simple index cards, and I wrote, you know, I didn't write anything. I just put a little visual that says wait. We've got little stick men that say it's my turn. If you've got a little girl, we could just give her the little girl card. So we have little girl cards. I made some stop, just hang on, not quite there yet. Emoji cards that, hey, it's me, it's my turn. So we just kind of keep these visuals nearby, you know, and do that type of thing. We have a stop. I have a little boy one if we want to make it, you know, general based, or just, you know, a little guy. So just different type of visuals. You can take one of these index cards, and on the back you could do a first then. If they get anxious, well, I can't wait that long. So, you know, first it's going to be Grandma's turn, and then it's going to be your turn. And so once Grandma goes, boom, you get to go, and you could give them some type of reward, some tangibles that your child might enjoy at home, things like that. So those types of things. We can even, I know some of your game pieces are blue, yellow, green, orange. You can let your child make that choice, but in the game, they're like, oh wait, now I want red if they chose blue in the beginning. So we can make little blue icons, and it, you know, you could take I have a purple marker here, so I could just make, you know, a little icon, make it purple. And so remember, yours is purple. What color are you? Just kind of those little simple visuals for your kid to just follow along and still feel, oh, yep, that's right. Just
So
little things like
on
that.
this, I think that's interesting, because if I remember correctly from reading your materials, it's like you can pick, like maybe you pick first this time, and you, like, I was always green, right? And so then one of my sisters started liking green, and even like neurotypicals. The thing is, even with, I say this in every Facebook Live, even with neurotypicals, we do the same thing, right? But so correct me if I'm wrong, we're like, that's fine, but it doesn't mean somebody else can't pick. Can you tell us, like, how do you?
Yes.
Like,
So
I'm always the Scotty dog.
I am
or whatever.
often devil's advocate.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be purple, oh, I really want to be purple today. And there are
You know,
times.
pulling the empathy card to see if they're building that skill. or
No,
what?
just to be devil's advocate. Just
Okay.
to work on that flexibility. We talk a lot about being flexible.
Okay.
So sometimes it will take us 20 minutes to actually get to where we're ready to play a game. Because we are problem solving. How do we handle this disagreement? You and I are sharing a thought right now. We both want to be purple. So what can we do about that? And if they, depending on their skill level, they might need suggestions. Maybe they don't know.
Yeah.
So you could say, maybe you could be purple this time and I could be purple next time. Sometimes purple is not even in the box that day.
Because
so if we have, red seems to be our most popular. Sometimes red
It's
is
in my
just
back
not
pocket.
in the box that day.
Mhm.
So we work so much on just our ability to be flexible. And another cool thing about our groups is we have kids who've been with us for years. We have kids who are new. It's a good mix. And so the kids who've been around for a while know how all this works. And so they'll say things like, can you please be flexible today? And
then-
they'll give you, we're really big on
Well,
kids
especially when
giving
a
each other
peer
feedback.
is saying that, it's
Mhm.
not a grown up.
Oh, it's not,
telling you
right.
What to do.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. Or they'll say things like, "Oh, that's no big deal," because these are the things that we practice.
Right.
So yeah, like I said, sometimes it takes us 20 minutes to actually play a game, because playing the game sometimes is the easiest part. It's getting
to there.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you do you have any more on that? Because I think to me, that is one of the hardest things about what we're talking about tonight, right? It's so, we're like, here's Candyland. Like, there was a game called Caribou. That was the easiest game in the world for my boys to play while I was making dinner or whatever. I'm like, Caribou. And it was fairly low turn-taking issues, over skipping in Candyland kind of thing. But we appreciate it takes time and patience to teach these skills and to have that time at home. But talk a little bit about the payoff.
Built in school. Well, built in schools, then they know how to share their ideas in class. They know how to listen to other ideas, and that's the biggest issue. So they're not the ones always having to talk or having to do it, and it goes their way. It's, I have to listen to what others are doing.
Yeah.
You want to be heard, then it gives them that skill that then they need to listen to others too,
right.
and share those ideas. Your ideas matter as well as mine do, and so that carries over in the classroom in that collaboration with their peers.
And then how do you think that transfers skills into the household?
With siblings and
yes.
I guess just kind of carrying that over too, and learning that just because I'm the big brother or I'm the one who has like that disability, we can still be on that same
We need to be
page.
buds. We can do something together.
And we can do something together, absolutely, and it keeps us on the same.
Yeah, we're level here.
We're leveled here. We're gonna play a game,
And that's just as important for the
Absolutely.
neurotypical sibling or the non-disabled sibling as it is for the guy on the spectrum, because having that time, that attention, that energy, that focus, and to just be together is so important.
that bear looks the same this time.
That's right. That fair looks the same. That's nice. Yeah, that equity, right? So one thing that we talked about we were talking about social stories. I don't know if it was before we turned the camera on or after. And we talked about it in a few of the other things, that if you are a super creative human being, especially if you know that you have a big family and you're going to be at the holidays and you've been practicing this skill at home, let's be honest, you can't
Practice.
go in raw.
That's right.
You can't go in raw on this, you have to. But coming up with these sets and like I said, getting them over to the cousin's house so that they have an understanding of what that is, or even you have a set, they have a set, they're equal matching sets so that you can have them practice that to transfer over. And put in pictures the human, like this is cousin Tommy, this is cousin Johnny, like you could get crazy.
Oh yeah, you could get real creative with that.
So what interweb did you find? Like what would you type in as someone who's a novice?
I went to Google and I just went to Google and I typed in just images of my turn clip art, stop clip art kind of thing, and just went with that. And when I did that, like my turn, it came up with just all sorts of different images. And then you could always put it to a Word document and just copy and paste it, pop it up, save it, and then I just cut them in little squares and glued them to an index card. Simple, easy things that you would have at home.
One of the things that, I've been working with kids, especially forever, but I love these things because I learn something all the time. Choosing games of luck, not skill, right? Or I think, let's pull out, what is the Trivial Pursuit that I know nothing, like, no, not, like, it's also about setting up the environment, not just cards, or not just letting peers and aunts and grandparents know, and working on the skill at school and at home, but setting everybody up for success is key. And that doesn't mean placating or abiding, it means setting everybody up for success.
Meeting your child where they are.
So can you talk a little bit about that? And I just love, like, luck.
Yes. So a lot of games that are designed for younger kids are luck-based games. They're not skill-based games. So it's really up in the air who's going to win the game. So those are the best games for students who we call it having a stuck brain. Students who are a little more stuck, a little less flexible. A game based on luck, because it's anybody could win.
Yeah.
Also, starting with games that are 2-player games for kids who are earlier learners,
Yeah.
so they don't have to wait so long for their turn. There's not so much going on. Even playing a game with a partner, because if you're the partner, you can model. Oh, that was really disappointing. We just got bumped out, and you can be that model for your student of how you can react to different things in a game, and they don't feel like they're the only one who lost, if that makes sense.
Right,
We
they
lost.
have a certain, somebody in arms with them.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Also cooperative games. So we have a lot of cooperative games where either the group wins or the group loses.
Gotcha.
So one has an ogre, and so either the players win or the ogre wins. So it's not me against you.
Right. It's our tribe against the game.
Right. So
That's
cooperative games. Sometimes we even run out of time
Yeah.
before a game is over.
Sure, because you know.
Yeah, some of our kids just aren't ready for that. And so we want game time to be fun. We want it to be successful. So sometimes there are artificial things like,
Absolutely.
oh, we're out of time. It's, nobody won this time. So
Yeah. Think about when you like your kids were little and then they were like, yeah, 5 minutes. But if you really need 20, is it time yet? 2 minutes. And half an hour, but like they don't know. And that's okay. But I mean, it's perfectly okay.
Mhm.
I think that, do you have any last thoughts, something you want to share?
No, I think we've covered. We want to just head out and go see what's going
Yeah,
on.
I think that, so one of the things that I don't know that you'll see my mug after this, but one of the things in Facebook Live and in Autism Lifeline Links is, we always want to encourage people to make sure that if you have a person, a loved one in your family with autism, we'd like you to go to autismlifelinelinks.org and click the register now button. What that allows us to do is you could register with us, and then a care coordinator will call you within a couple of working days and say, is there anything you need? So if you need referrals to any service organizations, there are 14 partners that we have that will all be tagged on this Facebook post after we wrap, that we can send electronic referrals to. And if they're not, so right now Stephanie's not in our electronic referral, but when people want social skills stuff, we give them Stephanie's phone number and email address so that they can get connected with her. And the same thing, it comes the other way. The guys at Burleson, if they have a guy who's autistic, they will send them over to us to get registered so that they can get the services. And what that allows us to do at Autism Lifeline Links is really have a better understanding of where the gaps are in services, and so we know that social skills, and especially as guys get older, and even our dually diagnosed kids with more, as I say, colorful behaviors, it's a real challenge for them to have that socialization, and then that just causes greater isolation for the family. And so maybe we don't have a solution for that right now, but the more we know what people want, and we know there isn't something out there, then Autism Lifeline Links can try to get together with the community to solve for that. Awesome. So please do that. And again, what we're trying to do here, all of us as people who are raising children, whether they're our children or our community's children, is to take our guys from childhood through adulthood with the best skills and the most success possible. So with that, we often say it may not be important to the child or the young adult, but it is important for that child or young adult.
Absolutely. And
with that said, we're going to walk down the hall to see some gameplay in action.
Awesome.
Stephanie and Sarah have both had some families come over so we can see that in action. And Stephanie's going to share with us a little more about the why this is an important life skill. And why. All right, Stephanie's going to walk backwards. That is an important skill. She's a figure skater. She didn't know it.
So we work on students' ability to think about other people. I think that's really at the core of when students have a social learning challenge. It's that disconnect between how the choices that we make affect the, but also that comes back to affect how those people treat us in turn. So that's really one of the big things that we focus on at Starfish is how what we do, what we say, how we act, the choices that we make affect everybody around us, which then affects how they feel about us and how they treat us. So we talk a lot about, being able to think about other people. So maybe you're the only person in the group who wants to play this game and everybody else wants to play a different game. So how can we be flexible? How can we make a different choice? And back to problem solving, maybe we play this game now and we play this game next. But for students to be able to come up with those skills to allow them to be more independent and more adaptable in a group setting is really what we're trying to teach them, so that they have the ability to be more socially appropriate, especially when there's conflict.
So Stephanie's gonna go with, Stephanie has a buddy that she's been working with a long time that she's gonna model some of this with him. Sound good?
Okay.
All right, you wanna tell us his name as you're walking there, Stephanie?
This is Noah.
There's a puppy.
Oh. Hi.
In my car. That was my car.
You found a friend who happens to be that you're hanging out with.
You got two. It's our puppy. Yeah.
You already know his name? That's so cool. Christopher, would you like to play a game with Noah and me?
Yes.
Okay, let's pick a game. Let's see.
You already have Super Mario. No.
Oh, would you like to play that one? I'm so glad you guys made a choice together.
This is Chloe.
Oh, that's Chloe.
Don't like pedal. Don't like pedal.
Okay.
Because she can get too excited.
Okay.
We need to keep her covered up.
Thank you for thinking about her and keeping her covered up.
There's
That's a
like
good way to
videos
show
to
that
keep
we're
her
thinking
calm.
about. Yeah, that's a good way to show we're thinking about her. Noah, where would you like to sit?
Oh, it's the way.
There's like videos that keep her calm.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Does anybody know how to shuffle? Do you know how to shuffle cards?
No, I've been learning myself.
Okay, you're learning. Okay. Noah, do you know how to shuffle? Noah? You ready to join the group?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I was just like telling Chloe to fix a little green stick.
Okay. Do you know how to shuffle?
Oh,
What can we do?
can you shuffle?
I can. Would you like
Hey,
me
you heard
to?
me shuffle.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll shuffle. Okay. We have to figure out who's gonna go first because there's 3 of us.
Someone is gonna go first.
What do you think?
I think it's Stephanie.
You think it should be me? You think it should be you?
Can I play too?
I'm just gonna watch y'all.
She has a job. See how she's recording? She has a job to do right now.
I want to be recorded. He said to me, please.
Are you gonna
Keep editing me out.
No.
Yeah, she's
Right.
gonna record us playing together. So Noah, you think
I'll
I
be
could go
enemies.
first, and you would like to go first? I wonder
went
how we
first
could
this.
solve this.
The second round, he went first this.
Okay. So maybe we can take turns going first.
So do you want to go first?
I wonder how we could solve this if we both want to go first. What do you think we
Can
could
you
do?
two do rock?
So Noah, your suggestion is rock, paper, scissors.
Whoever.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, and you agree with the outcome of rock, paper, scissors?
Miss Stephanie, before you do it, if you tie, that means you gotta start over.
Yeah, we try again, right? Okay, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, who won?
You!
Okay, so what does that mean?
That means you get to go first.
Okay, Noah, do you think it would be fair if we let him go second?
Let him go second.
Thanks for being so flexible. Thank you. Okay. All right. So, do you guys remember how many cards we get in Uno?
7.
Yes.
I
Oh,
would know that.
Man, okay. 2, 3,
4.
4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then remember, in a game like this where we have cards, we keep them a secret. Right? We don't want anybody else to see them, so we keep them a
So if
secret.
someone sees your cards, that means
Then
that,
what might happen?
if someone sees your cards, for example, they may know which one to choose.
Yeah, and then they might beat you, right? They might win. Okay, so I'm gonna go first. So I'm gonna match a 7 or a green.
These
I'm
are
gonna
Mario
play-
characters.
They are, isn't that cool?
That's
Mario
Donkey
Uno.
Kong, that's Pepi,
Okay,
that's Mario.
so I took my turn. Who's next?
Christopher.
Christopher, your turn.
Luigi,
I can hear the dog from here.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I'm gonna strike.
Daisy.
try again?
You need to.
If I can try again. I'm gonna change the color.
What color do you want to pick?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I want to pick blue.
Because blue is your favorite color.
So actually, it's my strategy because I have a lot of blue cards. So that's the strategy that I'm using. Is I'm hoping it will be blue so I can play my cards.
You can't see that.
I gave away my strategy. Yeah. Ooh, still blue. Okay.
We have to switch it for blue because we have to use for blue now. We're drawn to
Let's see. Okay.
That means I go.
Yes, good job paying attention.
And you.
Oh, back to me. Okay, watch this. You ready?
Oh.
Hey, I want
And
to
you.
thank you guys for showing how to cards. Thank
This
you
is awesome.
to Stephanie from
Do you wanna
Starfish.
play?
What do you guys look at that? Do you want to play?
No.
Isn't that perfect? What a great skill. Thank you for thinking about me and thank you. It was very gracious of you.
But we
play
would.
too.
This is Christopher.
So look, they've just made friends. These fellas don't know each other. They just showed up at the same table. I literally have goosebumps. Facebook.
Christopher.
So,
He's a
thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to the Burleson Center at Edgewood, and thank you to Cara from Edgewood, and also to Stephanie at Starfish Social. Tune in next. We're going to take a break in December, so have a wonderful holiday season. And in January, we're going to come back and talk about soft skills, particularly in the workplace. So we know our guys are really great when they're on task and they have something to do. But the in-between break room stuff and those social skills, as we talk about, we're gonna focus on some of those. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful holiday, and thanks for tuning in to Autism Lifeline Links Facebook Live.